It's Christmas time. I'm Dzung Lewis, and today we're gonna make 4 recipes that are perfect side dishes for your holiday meal, all in the microwave. This is every side dish. Now we're gonna make brown butter, and I love brown butter, and while it's not technically a side dish, it's absolutely essential to make everything better. You can add it to your pastas, your baked goods, chicken, ham, even fish. The list really goes on. Also, it's perhaps one of the simplest and most elegant uses of your microwave. Your whole family's gonna be impressed, and it won't even take 7 minutes. So all we need is 8 tablespoons or 1 stick of diced butter, and I'm just gonna place it into my any day medium deep dish. Now for the lid, you don't want to completely cover it, just place it ajar so that the moisture can escape and evaporate so that your butter can brown. But also you don't want the butter to be splattering everywhere, so this lid coverage is a happy medium. Now I'm going to pop it into the microwave for about 4 to 5 minutes or until the butter is nice and nutty and golden brown. Right now we're hearing some popping sounds. It's doing that so that the water from the butter could evaporate, but that's totally normal. And now you just whisk it up and pour it on whatever you want. For the holidays, I think this would be an amazing complement to any main proteins that you're making for the table, but make sure to save some for that gingerbread cake. And you can totally save any leftovers, if there are any, in the fridge to use later once it's solidified. I love scalloped potatoes for the holidays, but I often find that cooking them in the oven can be a little tricky and unpredictable. You might bake them for a while and find that the middle is totally undercooked, or you might find that the edges are starting to burn. Either way, this recipe is great because it helps you make a foolproof dish with quick and even cooking. We'll do the majority of the cooking in the microwave, but then we're gonna finish it off in the oven to get that beautiful golden brown layer at the top. For the ingredients, we have 2 cups of heavy cream, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt, 2 sprigs of fresh thyme that we've already chopped up, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, 6 Yukon Gold potatoes that's already been peeled and thinly sliced like this. You need about 6 cups, and 1 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. Of course, it's optional. So to put this together, I have my any day large shallow dish, and we're gonna whisk in our cream, the cornstarch. The cornstarch is gonna help to thicken our sauce up and just make a really beautiful roux. And then some salt, our nutmeg to give it some warmth, some thyme for some earthiness, and then ground black pepper. And because you're cooking this in the microwave, be sure to really work the cornstarch into the cream, making sure that there's no clumpiness so that you get a nice and smooth sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and pop it in on high for 3 to 4 minutes until it's nice and smooth and thick. And let's see our sauce. Nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and whisk it to wake the sauce up, get it nice and even. Look how creamy that is. And now we're gonna toss in our potatoes. When you're adding the potatoes, just make sure that they're in even layers and all coated with our sauce. Halfway through, I just like giving it a toss, and then we can add the rest. I just like to smooth out the potatoes a little bit, make sure that it's a little bit flat. Now we're gonna pop it back into the microwave uncovered, and we're gonna cook it for another 11 to 12 minutes until the potatoes are tender when pierced with a fork. Ah, steaming hot. Now as you can see, the potatoes and the sauce has become one, but we're not finished yet. We're gonna top our gratin with some of the mozzarella cheese. For the cheese, you just want to use something melty. Gruyere is a great one, Swiss, use whatever type of melty cheese you prefer. And now I'm just gonna put it into the oven that I've already preheated to 500 degrees and just bake it until the cheese is nice, brown, and bubbly. And browning it in the oven will take about 5 or 6 minutes, so I recommend doing this right before you're serving it so it comes out nice and fresh. Okay, our scalloped potatoes are bubbly, brown, and delicious. To garnish, I like to add some thyme right on top Just give it a little rustic flair here. You can feel free to top it with pancetta or bacon if you'd like. Also, I always find that we have a ton of leftovers after a big meal, so the next day I can easily reheat this in the any day with the lid on by microwaving it for about 3 to 5 minutes. I just use a fork to test the center, and if it's hot, you know they're ready to be served. And this is scalloped potato gratin. After all this talk about butter and potatoes, I think it's time for some greens on our holiday table. Green beans are the most versatile ingredients, and this fancy green beans recipe is perfect for cold weather. This recipe has a bunch of complementary textures and attention-grabbing flavors. Best of all, the microwave is so great for steaming vegetables. So to make this recipe, you're gonna need 2 tablespoons of butter, half a cup of leeks that's finely chopped, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 4 cups of green beans that's already cut and halved, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of roughly chopped pecans, 2 tablespoons of roughly chopped cranberries, 2 tablespoons of water, zest from a lemon, and some chives for garnish. We're gonna start by adding some leeks, butter, and garlic powder into our any day large shallow dish, and then we're going to place it into the microwave for 1 to 2 minutes until the leeks are slightly softened and the butter is melted. Again, always make sure to lift up the any day knob so that any steam from the butter can escape. So while we're waiting for the leeks to cook, I do want to mention that this recipe is for a 1200 watt microwave, but you can always go on to cookanyday.com to get the adjusted amount if your microwave is different. I'm just going to give this a quick mix to evenly distribute everything, and then we're going to add the green beans, our salt, pecans, dried cranberries, lemon zest. This will really perfume the green beans. Give it one more stir. Make sure to coat the green beans in that butter. And this is a really important step that you don't want to forget, is to add 2 tablespoons of water to help our green beans steam. I'm going to cover it back up with the lid. And back into the microwave it goes for another 5 to 6 minutes until the green beans are nice and tender. So we cooked the green beans for 6 minutes, and I've allowed it to rest for 1 minute with the lid on to finish cooking. Now we're just going to give it one final mix. These are perfectly cooked green beans. You want a little bit of a bite in there still, and it should look vibrant green. And finally, to garnish, I'm just going to add a nice dusting of chopped chives. They look and smell so good, so I'm going to have to give them a try. Okay, so the green beans were perfectly cooked, not mushy at all. It has that slight bite, and I love that the green is still vibrant. Also, you get that fresh burst from the lemon zest. It's just the perfect fancy green bean dish. This last dish is a classic, the honey glazed carrots, and you can't go wrong with this ultimate sweet and savory combo. I grew up with this dish, and I personally think it's an essential holiday tradition. The ingredients that you're gonna need are 1 pound of carrots that's been cut and peeled and cut into small chunks. You can use 2 tablespoons of butter or olive oil, 2 tablespoons of honey, 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley, and 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon zest. And you just need a dash of salt. This recipe is so easy. We're just gonna place the carrots, butter, honey. Love that this adds a sweetness. Also creates a really nice sauce for our carrots, and our dash of salt. And we're cooking it all in the any day medium deep dish. Now I'm just gonna cover it up with the lid. Make sure to pull up the any day knob and cook it in the microwave for 5 to 6 minutes, or until the carrots are fork tender when you pierce it. These look perfect, but let me make sure that they're fully cooked. Yep, they are fork tender. So to serve them, I'm actually gonna go ahead and transfer it to another dish, and make sure you get a little bit of the glaze in there. And let's say you're not a carrot fan, root vegetables are in season during the holidays, so you can swap it out for parsnips, butternut squash, kabocha squash, whatever you'd like. To finish it off though, I'm gonna add a bright freshness with some lemon zest and parsley. If you want to punch it up with some more flavor, I recommend adding a dash of ground ginger or even cinnamon to really spice things up. And there we have our glazed carrots. And that was it. Those are 4 side dishes that are perfect for your holiday meal. Check out cookanyday.com for the exact cooking times for your microwave. And while you're there, be sure to poke around to find other recipe inspiration for your next meal.